is a brand builder. When it comes to building brands, this guy is the guy. He's got over 30 years experience in marketing and advertising and publishing. And what he's gonna talk to you about, he's gonna talk to you about branding for clarity. Because here's the truth of the matter, is that if you are not crystal clear to your audience, then you are going to be unmemorable. If you cannot connect with them, you are going to be unmemorable. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to learn how to take your branding to the next level? Let me ask you one more time. Are you ready to learn how to take your branding to the next level? Well, if you are, get up out of your seat. Put your hands together. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Rob Genovese. Thanks, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. You guys ready? I got to tell you, backstage, I'm listening to Craig. But if you don't know, if you're backstage, that screen's backwards. So I have to replay it forwards in my head to get with the message what he said. But he absolutely killed it. And I'm going to tell you something. First of all, I have to have a little disclaimer. You know, when I found out I was going to speak here a couple of months ago, there's procrastination. And then there's strategic procrastination. The first one's bad. The second one means you wait until the last minute for the adrenaline to kick in, and then you go, oh, crap, I got to prepare for this. So that's what I did. So about a week and a half ago, I started developing my talk. And I had it all planned, what I was going to talk to you about. It was going to be about branding, but how was I going to deliver that message, like what Craig talks about? And then 2 days ago, I heard Coffee Anderson. But I'm from New York. I still want to say coffee. Anybody like that? So all respect to Coffee. He's my new hero, by the way. I love country music. And was he real or what? I'm like, nobody more real than Coffee. I can't wait to hang out with that guy. But he kind of wrecked me, and my talk kind of went by the wayside. So I threw out my talk after him. So what I'm going to talk to you about, I have no idea. If that's okay. 2 days ago, I threw out that talk because I realized it was the wrong talk for you guys, and I wouldn't have done you justice. So I redeveloped it, so here it is. I just did this morning, so Chaz, don't get nervous. I'm sure we'll deliver. People come to me all the time, and they go, Rob, and they don't know what to say. They're like, I don't know if what I'm saying is connecting with people. I'm not really sure. And I know what they're feeling. They're feeling a sense of confusion, right? There's a vagueness around, is what I'm saying actually connecting with my audience? Does anybody ever feel that way, ever? Is it just me? So I want to bring you clarity today, because until you have clarity around what you're doing, nobody knows what you do. If you start out in networking like me, we all start the same way until we're taught Bond, right? By the way, the genius behind Bond is the fact that it's so simple. So at first we go out networking, right? And we do the gunslinger approach. So we're down in Texas. I know you relate to this. It's like, hey, how you doing? Here's my card, right? And then you proceed to spew all over everybody. I've been there. I've done this. If you do this, it's okay. We have a program for that. At the end of the 10 minutes, you don't know what they do, because they haven't been clear about what they do. So 2 things are at play here. Number 1, if you're in an industry that is obvious, then people know what you do, and they've already passed judgment. Oh, okay, thank you, I got it. I know what you do. In which case, you are unmemorable, because you're in a sea of people just like you. The other thing is, you're not in an obvious industry, and you have to teach people what you do, and you think you've got all the time in the world in front of them to do it. And that's not how it works. Why? Because then they walk away, they don't know what you do. But Rob, I do all these things. I want to show them that I can do all this and I can help them. I really want to help people. I hear this more often than not, and I really appreciate this. I just want to help people. But when you tell them everything you do, they walk away going, I have no idea what that person does. So I want to bring you clarity around this. Now, when I first started my company, I was pretty much that way too. What I did was I did like what most of you do. I've leveraged my skills. And so I opened up a website and design company because I was a graphic designer for 30 years in corporate America. Led creative teams throughout marketing agencies, advertising agencies, publishing houses. And when I started my company, I was a website and design company because I need to take what I got, right, and put it out there. I'm going to leverage those skills. So I opened up a company and pounded it. So I did all the design, right? I'm a kind of an intelligent guy. I learned a couple things along the way. I can market this company. I can build a website. I can make some cool cards. I can get out there. I can kind of talk about what I do. And for a few years, hammering social media, hammering it. No attention. Nobody was reaching out. What happened one day was I got a phone call from a guy. This guy, Lou. He's an Italian guy from New York. This guy, Lou. Any Italians in here? Are there Italians in Texas? Or am I just... We're under this illusion that they're all in New York. I don't know why. And New Jersey, yeah. So he calls me up and he goes, I don't know if you can help me, but I need a website. So that's what I was doing at the time. He goes, I need a website. I paid this guy $1,100 to get a website, and I don't have a website. So what happened? He says, well, we went back and forth for about 6 months or so, and he couldn't seem to get me. But he did some work, so I paid him, but I don't have a website. He goes, can you help me? Now, this is back in the early days. So I did what any good business owner would do. I said, of course I can help you. And I walked away and said, crap, how am I going to help this guy? Because maybe he's the problem. You ever have a problem client? Nightmare clients? Maybe he was the problem. So what made me think as a designer that I could help him? So I had to take a different approach because I needed the job. Anybody need the job? You need that next job to get to the next job. You know what I'm saying? So I took a strategic approach and I interviewed him. I wanted to find out what made Lou. Now he's a contractor in New York. A contractor in New York. Could it get any more competitive? So I talked to him about what made him different. Now I didn't know anything about brand strategy at the time. I knew enough about strategic thinking to be able to get to the core of what the problem was, because my purpose was to set out and find out how can I help you make an impact in your industry. So I asked him a bunch of questions, what's your mission? What makes you different? What's your purpose? What are your values? Who do you serve? Who's your ideal client? All this stuff that we probably heard before, right? And you're like, blah, 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 blah. Rob, I've heard that before. Listen. What little knowledge I had about strategy, I applied. And now he hired me to do the website. I did a logo for him too. I wrote all the marketing copy for the website and I presented it to him. Right? You guys know Italians? Are you Italian? He sits in his chair like this. Seemed like 5 entire minutes. It was probably about 15 seconds. He goes, absolutely nailed it. He goes, I don't know how you did that. It's like you were in my head. How did you do that? And now, the reason I took a strategic approach was I needed to sell design. Right? Terry Lynn, where are you? She's selling your artwork, right? She's killing it selling her artwork. Was it hard to sell artwork initially? Yes, initially. Artwork is subjective. Design is subjective. The client goes, I don't like this. I like that. Change this, change that. Most frustrating thing for a creative person. But when I packaged this together for him, he said I nailed it. Well, I thought, well, so what? That's subjective. He liked it. By the way, like is not an effective strategy in your business. What you like and what works may be two different things. So I thought, well, maybe I helped him, maybe I didn't. So I tried it for a couple more clients. But fast forward a little while later, he calls me up. And he goes, hey, Rob, I just called. Say hi, how you doing? I go, hey, Lou, how's it going? Louie, how's it going? He goes, oh, man, business is great. I'm busy 7 days a week. And he wanted to be. As a contractor, he wanted to be busy 7 days a week. I said, what do you attribute your success to? He goes, what you did for me. I told him some basic social media, drove traffic to his website. They liked what they saw, and they called and they said, I want to hire you. Why? tons of contractors. What made Lou different? We accentuated. It was nothing special. You know what it was? You want to hear something dumb? It's dumb. The thing that you think is not very significant is, so here was his approach to, he's a painting contractor. Every time he went to a job, they'd look around and they'd be like, all right, Lou, what do you think about this? How many coats do you think you need here? Can you do this in one? He goes, no, it's 2 coats. It's always 2 coats. So after a while, they called him Louis Two Coats. Hey, Jimmy the Chin, Mikey the Fingers, Joey Five Hands. If you're in town, you know all these people. It was Louis Two Coats. We capitalized on that one stupid thing, and I say stupid with respect because you dismiss it. He dismissed it. We capitalized on it. The guy's killing it. So come back a little to the present time at that time. And I did it for a couple more clients, and I started realizing something. My clients were attracting their ideal clients better than I was in my business. How could that be? I built my brand, my company, before I understood strategy. So what does that mean? Who here has a logo? Don't be ashamed. If you don't have one, it's okay. Anybody here have a website? Okay. So did I. But you know what that's like? You know what most people do? They get in a business, they name the company, they call it XYZ Incorporated, and then they just open up their doors and they make some sales. And, well, you know what? We should really get a website. Okay, so it's 6 months later, we'll get a website, we'll get that together. I don't have time for that. We'll get Wix to build it. And you know what? Oh, somebody said I need a tagline. Oh, my nephew said something clever the other day. Let me do that. So that sounds clever. And we cobble together and we call it a brand. That's what I did. So I had a really polished website, had a nice logo. The name of my company was like no other, because my name was in it. But I didn't have a brand because it didn't mean anything. I want to talk to you about going from unmemorable to undeniable. Who does not want to be denied business, ideal clients, revenue, attention? All we've been hearing this whole time is aligning with these things. So think about this for a second. Let me give you an idea of what brand strategy is, because people think branding, they think I got a logo, and those don't help you build your business. I'm 30 years of graphic design. I'm going to tell you there's something more important. A website is not going to bring you business necessarily. You ever hear a violinist play a solo? You sit there. They're virtuoso, right? They're done and you clap. Oh, it's just fantastic. And they're playing off a certain sheet of music. You take that same violinist and you put them in an orchestra, the same sheet music. They play the same song. And it reduces people to tears. Ever experienced that? It's just so moving. What's the difference? The sheet music is brand strategy. The musicians are the elements of the brand: logo, name, tagline, website, et cetera, et cetera. When you strategically harmonize them together, they work together to move people. Because you act on emotion. You make decisions based on emotion. Then you back it up with intellect so you can sound smart to your friends, right? I made this purchase the other day, did all the research and whatnot. Baloney, you just want the biggest, baddest TV there was, and you just went and bought it. You've got to do it based on emotion. You've got to tug people emotionally. So what did I do? I went back to my company and I ripped it all down. Sometimes you got to rip it down. Don't try and bolt things on. You ever hear of Frankenstein? Anybody got a Frankenstein business? You bolted all these things on, and now it's like, there's a monster. I don't know what's going on. You don't know what it is. You don't know if it's going to die or what. But my business was dying. See, I didn't go to school to become a brand strategist. Pick it as a career. Go to school. Get a certification. Open up a company. And go, this is what I'm going to do. I became a brand strategist because it literally saved my company. is when I ripped it down. By then I had developed this process because I'd done it for a couple more people, this strategic thinking of harmonizing all the elements together to work in a focused manner, right? The sunlight shines on a piece of wood and it warms it. Run it through a magnifying glass and what happens? It burns right into it, right? We're talking about burning your message into people's brains. I love what Craig was talking about. Talking about how to deliver your message. So when I revamped my company, I thought, well, if my strategy is good, process is everything, well, then it should work for me. So I ran myself through the process that I had created, learned from some of the greats in the world as far as branding. And what came out the other side was this Unleash My Beast brand was the name of the company. But the message was there before this showed up. And the message was this: in each and every one of you, your brand is already there. What did Chaz, he talked about the story, the wisdom, the gifts. They were going to hide them in the clouds. They were going to hide them in the ground. They're going to hide them in the bottom of the ocean. No, we'll put them right inside people. They'll never look there. Your brand is inside each and every one of you. And I appreciate what Coffey did, right? He just came right out there and he said, what's your problem? What's the issue you're having? And he did it right then and there. You know why he did that? You know why he was able to do that? He did it for himself. He knew who he was. And he helped each and every one of whoever he helped. Raise your hands. Who did he help? Who's the streaking guys? Where are they? Was it streaking with friends? Thank you for wearing clothes. Appreciate that. When you work with what you've got, what you've been given, you're real. See, my old company, you wouldn't recognize it. I don't do slideshows because I want you to look here. Right? I want your attention here. My company was what I thought you wanted it to be. Madison Avenue, polished, first class, very, very eloquent copy on the website. High polished logo, high polished website, collared, button down, slacks, leather belt, shoes to match. Nothing wrong with that. That's not who I am. When I discovered who I was through the strategy, I then amplified it through the visuals, through the words. As a designer, I tell you, the words are the most important thing that you need to figure out. Describe it. When I relaunched the company under the new name, I was doing less social media. I got more attention. The brand went, more attention. People go, I see what you're doing. You're blowing up the internet. I'm like, blowing up the internet. You post several times a week for a month straight and people think you're blowing up the internet. But it wasn't how much I was doing. It was the focus of what I was doing that was hitting people the right way. See, I was being me. So I threw away all that other stuff, and look, what you see is what you get. The words I use, the way I show up. I was clean shaven, like I said, button down shirt. And I'm not saying that you need to grow a circle beard or anything. Don't get me wrong. It took me 54 years to get this, so I can't even really grow anything anyway. But you've got to take what makes you different. And when I say I had to throw away my talk because I would have done you injustice, it's because I realized something. When Chaz was saying, some of the speakers came and said, what do your people need? I respect that. But I kind of, again, I love just, you've got to be you. So I did something a little different. I talked to you. Where's Victoria? Victoria and Brad. He's got to be sitting right next to her, usually. And Brad. I was talking with them last night. Hey, Victoria, last year you were doing something different. What are you doing this time? Brad, what are you doing? Where's Cindy? Cindy Yoakum? You out there, Cindy? Spoke with Cindy, Barb's sister. She showed me her card, right? So she's a massage therapist. And I said, what's with the white tiger? What's that on there in the card? I'm curious. I want to know what people are thinking. and I want to know where they're going. She said, well, it's cool. I like it. I connect with it. And it's really good to do that. But here's the thing. I said, why does it make sense to me, though? I know it means something to you. What does it mean to me? What does it mean to you, the audience? So here's marketing, right? Coffee talked about marketing. Ursula talked about marketing, up level. I love that. By the way, I was saying that before I heard Ursula say it. Can I take credit for that? No. Coffee said align yourself with excellence. I'm sure that she and I somehow were on some same level because I like to make up words too. When you make up words, you get to own them, right? You want to own your brand. Make up your own words. What she did is genius. Genius is taking complicated and making it simple. Make up your own words. Nobody says you can't do that. It's not in the dictionary, all the better, right? So I said, it has to make sense. If people don't have the connection, we're a connect, right? Do you know it's called connect for a reason? Do you know you're supposed to connect with people? And yeah, we can go hang out, and I can sit across the table from you. You know, I got a chance. Where's Chris Natsky? Chris, this is my new friend here, Chris. I was asked to help him in his breakout room. To help him. He helped me because why? We got a chance to meet. We spoke a bunch of times. We were hanging out last night, learned about his story. And if you didn't get a chance, you missed it. But if you didn't get a chance to understand, you got to make a choice sometimes where you're going to go for breakouts. It's very tough. But Chris is an 8th degree black belt, master instructor, former Taekwondo champion. Helps people with personal development, life coaching, business development. He's like this martial arts guy. And I said, did you always use martial arts to help people outside of martial arts? And he goes, you know, in the beginning, I thought it was kind of corny. People thought it was corny, right? And, you know, for whatever reason, things have a stigma. Maybe that's not for me, right? That's not for me. I'm not into that martial arts thing, right? People might say. But he realized, well, you use what you got. The thing that he thought was corny is the thing that makes him different. Write this down. Pen's out. I'm going to give you something right here. Write this down. I'm telling you. It's better to be different than simply better. Because who's better than you? Is your competition better than you? Maybe. Maybe you're better than them this week. They're better than you next week. I don't know. Aren't we always up-leveling? Aren't we always leveling up in our businesses? Well, if you're not, I mean, you should be. That's why Ursula wrote a whole book around up-level. So you're always getting better. So how does the audience know who's better? You or your competition? They don't. But I'll tell you this. If you're different, you're perceived as better. Truth, Chris? When Maggie Carey and I met a couple of years ago. Maggie, what business were you in 2 years ago? Maggie could do everything. Didn't you guys know that? She could do everything. Whatever problem you have, she solved it. How was business? She wasn't making any money. Were you busy? I don't think there's any. I've rarely met a harder working person than Maggie Carey, by the way. So we started talking, and we just became friends, and it became a matter of two friends and business owners helping one another. But I was like, and look, I'm not going to force my coaching on anybody, but I'll always ask questions. And she was driving herself crazy, right? I said, Maggie, you gotta focus. You gotta focus. This is gonna be hard for you, right? There's the fear. Okay, so here we go. Let me just take a sidebar for a second. The thing that held me back my entire life was the fear. And the more business owners I talk to, and I had the good fortune of helping Chris out in his room. The fear is what's holding you back. Define the fear whatever you want, success, failure, whatever. The fear of losing a client. The fear of your competition getting the jump on you. The fear of not being able to deliver at the caliber you think you're supposed to deliver. Flush that nonsense. Kick the fear aside. That's what I had to do. When you kick the fear aside and you embrace who you are, you can put it out there. Maggie has a performing arts background. I said, Maggie, listen, it's better to be different than simply better. So while you're trying to be better at websites and better at design and better at advertising and better and whatever other 32 other services she offered, I said, what's the one thing you love? She goes, oh, social media. It's like my thing. I love social media. It's like she connected with it. I said, but you have this performing arts background. Oh, yeah, it's something I still do. I kind of like that. I go, what do people want on social media? Roger Wakefield's here. Roger Wakefield's a social media star, the plumber. With all due respect, right, Roger? He told me this one time. He goes, I'm just a plumber. He is a social media star, legit. Right? So, I said to Maggie, so what do people want on social media? What do they want to be? They want to be entertained. They want to be a star. Why do you think they put themselves out there? They want to be the one that people go to, that people follow, that people like, that people comment on. They want to be the go-to person. I said, Maggie, you're in performing arts. What do people want? They want to be a star. Maggie, teach them how to be a star. So what is it? How to get discovered, because that's what all performers want. They want to be discovered. How to get discovered online. So we talked about it. We focused the message. She stopped doing all those other things, and she focused. She used what she got. So back to Cindy Yoakum. I said, so what's with the tiger? So here we are. Here she is. She's in the beginning of her journey. And I said, what's with the white tiger? She was already connect with it. I said, what is a white tiger anyway? So I know what it is, but she goes, well, it's one of the rarest animals on earth. I said, you're in a pretty competitive field, massage therapy, right? Oh, yeah. There's franchises. There's people doing it all over the place. I said, well, here you go. The rarest massage experience you'll ever receive. And now go make it happen. Make it the experience that is the rarest one out of all the others. Now look, it's better to be different than simply better. Why do you think people buy Bentleys, Lamborghinis? Why do you think fashion is such a huge industry? Because I don't want to look like everybody else. I want to look like me. When you're different, you're perceived as better. So I want to give you clarity as I wrap up, because clarity is the thing you want. Hey, you ever drive in a rainstorm? You ever been caught in one of those downpours where you're driving along and your wipers can't go fast enough, right? The water is like literally, and you have to slow down to a crawl. You ever see that stuff like Rain-X, that substance you wipe on your windshield? And when you're driving and it's downpour, it's like it's not even hitting your windshield. You don't have to slow down. That's your business. Without clarity, you have to slow your business down because you can't see far enough, fast enough. I want to give you clarity around three things. Ready? Who you are, who you serve, and what makes you different. Who are you? What's your purpose? I know you've heard this before. Why are you doing what you're doing? Seriously. You want to make an impact in business? Is that at the core of who you are? Because you started your business, probably a lot of you start out like this. I'm going to open up this company, but I'm not doing it like those guys. I got my own ideas how to do it. Who has their own ideas and how to approach their business, right? I'm going to do it like I want to do it. Who are you? You need to define that. Find out who you are. Are you the martial artist? Are you the rare tiger? Are you the performer? Use it. Who you serve. Who do you serve? Nightmare clients, everybody? They're not your ideal client. They're not your dream client. They're the opposite. You don't need them. Kick the fear aside, you say no. So who are they? Where do they live? What do they drive? What do they eat? What's their income? How many kids do they have? Do they have kids at all? Are they married? Are they not married? What's their lifestyle? Where do they live? When you know who you're talking to, you know how to talk to them. So they go like this, Seth Godin, when you build your tribe, they're for me. You want your audience going, they're for me. They get me. Louis Two Coats. The guy didn't get me. You nailed it. How did you do that? When you know who you talk to, you know how to connect with them. Get a very detailed picture. And what makes you different? We already talked about it. A few examples here. The thing that makes you different is already there. You need to look inside. I wish I had an hour I could really help you with this. Maybe in the future I can get an hour and I'll really help you with this stuff. Because what makes you different, you're going to deny it. But look, embrace it, because what you want to do is, what you're doing right now is if the phone's not ringing, if you're not getting clients, if you're talking to potential clients and you're not getting hired, anybody been there? Me too. You have to understand that the thing that's inside you that makes you different is the thing they need to hear. But I'm going to give you one thing right now. I 100% guarantee, I'm going to end with this, that something you have right now you can use tomorrow to get you business. You ready to write this down? This is great. 100% guarantee. Nobody has this one thing. Your story. I've been telling my story since day one, and you know people who do? They go, what a great story. We need to talk further. Tell your story about how you got to where you are, what made you different, what made you decide to do that thing, because they don't care about the services you offer. They care about what drives you. You've got a postcard in front of you. You know which one it is. That's mine. All right, it's unmistakable. I want you to go from unmemorable to undeniable. Shoot that QR code. I want to give you some free stuff. And I want to thank you all for listening. Enjoy your weekend.